Well, hello everybody out there in TV land. Jay Cron here with Matt Cody for another episode of Hashtag Ask Kajabi. Now, we are so excited to be coming to you on this fine Tuesday. Hopefully, for those of you in the U.S., you enjoyed a long 3-day weekend, and some of that time was spent digging into marketing, playing with Kajabi, and continuing to further your digital entrepreneurship goals. Today, we're going to be talking about campaign strategy and structure. So that means we're going to be talking about pages, we're going to be talking about positioning, we're going to be talking about how to build offers that get you to your goal, whether that goal is list building and capturing emails or selling stuff, probably both. So we're going to be covering that today. And remember, ask questions so that we can answer them in our comment threads. So remember, Ask Kajabi every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Pacific. That's when you want to join us live. That way we can get your questions answered while we're sitting right here. And you may have noticed we've got a new set today. We have this very cute little succulent cactus plant thingy, and we're ready to have some fun. So Matt is a member of our marketing team here, and Matt actually himself is a Kajabi hero, right, Matt?
Yes, sir.
And now you were interviewed with Travis last week, right, about your Kajabi hero site.
Yeah, and so that was when we sent it out to everyone. I know we did the interview a little bit before that, but yeah.
Well, so that makes today special, folks, is not only do I have someone from our marketing team here that we're going to be diving into campaign structure, but this is somebody who also is a Kajabi hero in their own right, used it, built it, and got the t-shirt, which is a lot of fun to say. So, Matt, when you were beginning to build your Kajabi hero site and you were thinking of structuring a campaign, was it overwhelming at first? Like when you sat down and said, okay, I'm going to be an online digital entrepreneur.
Right.
What were your thoughts on how to build a campaign, or was it literally just like, man, I don't even know where to start?
Yeah, I think 4-Hour Workweek, Tim Ferriss quotes this idea of paralysis by analysis. I mean, you can start just sitting there and looking at all these different strategies and trying to figure out which one's the best for you and how to price your course.
Guys, if you saw Matt pause, it's because I have this broadcast on my phone so I can look at your comments live. And there's always this moment of Ask Kajabi inception where we're hearing us as you're hearing us. So that's what that was.
Yeah. sorry about it. No, sorry. I heard my own voice. I'm like, oh God. And so, but anyways, when you start creating different strategies, I think a lot of it at first was just trial and error. I think the first time I ever did it, I just put up a sales page that just was always up there, right? And then kind of just had a sales video up top and some copy below, and was like, hopefully people buy. And I was noticing I wasn't getting a lot of sales with that. And then I learned about this idea of creating scarcity, right? And so meaning that you don't leave your cart open for forever. You give people an opportunity to buy, and you close the cart. And you'll see a lot of people do that with various strategies. But really putting a prospective client in that position where they have to choose to buy or not to buy is an important part of sales and marketing, I think, because it's one of those things that it forces them into a decision. And there's ways to do it and ways not to do it, of course. But, I know that when we talk about our strategies and when we're coming up with strategies for Kajabi, it's like, okay, well, a lot of it is just trying stuff, and there's stuff that's not going to work. It's not like every marketing strategy you're going to put out there is going to work. What you do is you put something out there, you see what works, and then you kind of tweak and adjust, and then eventually it becomes just this process that you understand and feel good with your product. And so I guess it really depends on what your product is, on how you're going to structure stuff.
So a couple things that I want to make sure that we highlight that Matt just mentioned, and it's interesting because if you just gloss over the story, you'll miss some of the nuggets that he just shared. Because first and foremost, let me say hi to some people. Hi, Tamsin. Hey, Joyce. Hey, Nancy. Great to have you with us. I know we've got a bunch of other people live, but they're the only ones that have made comments so far. So if you want me to mention you,
comment away.
Comment away. So one of the things that I love about Matt's story is you put up a sales page before you would say you knew what campaign structure was.
Right.
That you didn't get stuck in this mode of, I need to know all of this and I need to learn all of this before I'm ready to sell this.
Right.
So you literally had a sales page that when you began learning and diving deeper into campaign structure, you were like, all right, I know I need to change some things, but it didn't stop you from getting going and getting your course out there.
Well, and that's like the one thing that I would encourage people, especially, who are starting off. I mean, it's so funny. The first time you build a course and you want to sell it, you get in your way so much. Like I got in my own way so much, it was ridiculous. But you start thinking, well, I need to create this course that is going to change the entire world and that everyone's going to buy. And then you quickly realize that you're like, once you try to sell it to somebody and 3 people buy it or something like that, you're like, okay, well, maybe this isn't for everyone. And then you kind of figure out that, my course is actually designed to solve a very specific problem for a very specific group of people. And then the sales process is not about really trying to say, hey, give me your money. It's really like this natural process that happens that says like, hey, look, I've delivered a bunch of great value. I have this premium course here that you can take as well. And the people that really like the value and content you put out are going to naturally want more from you. And so the sales process just becomes something that people naturally go through in your pipeline, so to speak.
So, and by the way, hi Larry, great to see you, dude. When you look at the first successful campaign that you put together, so you have this course, you built a sales page, you kind of just built stuff.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you started diving a little bit deeper into, let's call it industry knowledge, this idea of campaign structure,
right.
What should happen first, second, third, fourth, fifth in the process. What was the style of the first campaign you had that was successful?
The first campaign that I had that I really saw a significant amount of sales. You see, again, I wouldn't recommend this to people, but this is what I did, and so I decided that I was going to try to run a product launch. Right, the product launch formula made famous by Jeff Walker's book launch, and you can obviously run that with Kajabi. We have a whole thing set up, a whole pipeline for a product launch, and that structure is basically you send out 3 videos, and then you have a sales video or an opportunity to buy your product, and then in a period of time after that, you close the cart, right? And it comes with several emails. It's probably one of the most complicated sales strategies you can run. But again, it was one of those things that like I just had it in my head that that's what I wanted to do. And so I literally just recorded myself with my phone and like had my laptop behind it where I was like reading the script off a ladder. I mean, I'm serious. I set this whole thing up in like my living room and it was like, it was just, it was crazy. But the point is I took some time to really deliver some high quality content in those 3 videos, and then I put a sales video out, and then I opened the cart for a period of time and closed it. I followed the exact strategy, and it worked. I mean, people got a lot out of the videos. They knew that the cart was open. I sent email reminders, and then eventually I closed it. And on that close day, like everyone says, is like when there's that moment of, hey, look, you can either buy this or not buy it because I'm going to close the cart. That's when sales really started trickling in.
Hey, Jody, thanks for commenting. Great to have you. So let's talk about what Matt's discussing here, this idea of a product launch and the campaign structure behind that, as he mentioned, is 4 videos. Video number 1 is normally called the opportunity. The opportunity video is where you're going to introduce this new information, new methodology, something that's coming to market that someone who's interested in that topic would be interested in. So this is the new information, the new method, the opportunity video. The second video is the education video. This is where you're going to help train them and teach them about how to apply the information they learned in the first video. The third video is going to be the ownership experience. And the ownership experience is people that knew the information from video 1, applied the training from video 2, and these are the results they got in video 3. So think social proof, how is the product working for them? And finally, number 4, the what do I do next video, the sales video.
Right.
I like to call it what do I do next because quite frankly, if you did a great job with 1, 2, 3,
yeah.
4 is exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So they're
just
ready
a natural
to go.
process. Yeah.
So I know a lot of people love the product launch because, quite frankly, Jeff Walker and a lot of the names that people are familiar with that have been exposed to this industry by, they've seen it through a product launch, and people do love that. And most often, this is a launch methodology that works best when you have a small email list of some kind, that you have an audience that you're going to be launching this to.
Right.
So like when you did your product launch, what type of email list did you have before that? What did you use to capture those people that would then go through your product launch?
Yeah, and so again, it was one of those things that as I learned more and more about the process, right, this idea of building a list, right? And so every list starts with one. So if you don't have a list, it's okay. You just start building it. And again, it's one of those things as the more time you put into it, the larger it gets. But I started initially creating opt-ins, right? And so for those of you that aren't familiar with that concept, basically it's just it's a page called a squeeze page, right? So you send people to a page where they have a choice. They can enter in their email in exchange for a free item, and that's really this is really the first part of the sales process when you think about it, because this is the trade that you make. You say, hey, look, please give me your email, and I'm going to give you this, and you make a trade, and so. And then from there, you kind of build a relationship. You have email sequences that go out, and you kind of keep sending them stuff, right? And so I set up, here's my whole strategy was this. I put free content on YouTube, right? So I have several YouTube videos in my niche. And then from there, all of the videos, at the end of every video, I'm like, okay, hey, if you enjoyed this video, please click the link below, and you'll be taken to a page where you can get some additional resources for free. Beneath the YouTube video, in the little box, I just have a link right to my squeeze page. Right, and then so they go there, and then 30% of people, let's say, enter in their email, and then from there I kind of gather up this list of people and building and adding value and all that stuff, and then so I had built this list via YouTube, and that was like my goal. And then once I had about, maybe 800 people, give or take, on my list, and again that was completely built free. Which was one of the nice parts. So if you're,
I hope all of you are listening, because what he just covered is he built a list of 800 people for free from YouTube. I just wanted to make sure nobody missed that one.
Yeah, and that's I don't think people realize the value of. And one of the nice parts is when people find you for free on YouTube or Facebook Live or whatever it is that you use, whatever medium you use to communicate with your people in your tribe, so to speak. When you are giving away good quality content, people want more. They want more of you, like naturally. And so when you're giving them the opportunity to sign up to your list, and they already know that you put out all this great free content, they're like, okay, well, yeah, it's just like the natural flow, right? It's nothing crazy to ask for their email. They're usually kind of excited to give it to you in a way, because they're like, wow, this guy puts out great stuff. And so YouTube was my big platform, and still is, that I use. And so, but I know now with Facebook Live and all these live video streams that you can put out now, and I mean, there's just so many ways you can do it. So I highly encourage that as a strategy. But also linking back to those squeeze pages is really that crucial part of that step, because if you just link them back to the homepage of your site and expect that they're going to figure it out, it just usually doesn't work like that in my experience. The conversions are way lower. It's just very clear, step by step. The clearer you can be with your audience, the better. Of like, hey, look, click this link, go to this page, enter your email, and then on the email page, it's just very clear of where they need to email or put in their email, and then what they're going to get in return. And so, as long as you are being very clear and actually, setting the expectations, I mean, it really is not as difficult as you might think to start building a list of followers.
So a couple things that Matt brought up that I want to make sure we hit home on is he brought up this idea of not just sending them to your homepage, your main website. The reason for this is there's a concept in sales that's been around since the dawn of time. I'm sure somebody said it, and I probably stole it from them. But when it comes to sales, or when it comes to marketing and moving someone along a path, you don't want to turn a buyer into a shopper. What that means is when someone gives you their email address for whatever it is you're promising them, they're doing that for a specific reason. They have a specific outcome in mind. And so if I put in my email address to learn more about the keto way of losing weight, and then I end up on a website that has keto diet and fitness products, and before you know it, now I'm browsing pull-up bars and weight sets and rubber bands and all kinds of crazy things. when if you had just kept me on the path that I was on,
Right.
it would have been better for me and it would have been better for you.
Right.
So the other thing that you brought up, Matt, that I think is important, and Larry actually asked us a question that we're going to dig into, is this idea of scarcity. So Larry asked, do you know anyone taking away bonuses as the date approaches? I'm assuming, Larry, you mean cart close. How has that worked out, and what applications do you see there? So scarcity is a concept that I'll talk about in general, and then Matt's going to talk about how he used it in his product launch, and then we're going to talk about how you can use it and answer Larry's question as well. Scarcity is this idea of giving people a reason to take action. It's something that there is a deadline, there is a close, there is something that if they don't make a decision by a certain date, they lose something. And this is based on the idea that people will certainly work much, much harder to avoid pain than they will to achieve pleasure. The pain of losing something, not being able to move forward, will drive someone to make a decision. So, for example, when something comes out that is limited, that is very exclusive, that normally has a lot more motivation to buy it while it's available. Versus, I've never really been that excited to go to the grocery store to get a loaf of bread because I know a loaf of bread is always available. There's no scarcity, there's no exclusivity, it's a loaf of bread. But that same loaf of bread material, when put into a cronut at Dominique Ansel in New York for their once-a-month flavor, I won't lie. I've tried to have people pick it up for me because I can't get up at 4 a.m. I've never been able to do it. Thanks to TaskRabbit, you can. But look at that same pastry idea, applied scarcity. And now all of a sudden you have a line out the door of people dying to get that flavor that month. So Matt, talk about scarcity.
That was a heck of a reference you just made back to New York.
Now I want a cronut.
Yeah, and so, but I thought of it. I was thinking of the idea of Black Friday. You know, like where we all like everyone just. Well, literally now it ends up being on Thanksgiving evening. You eat Thanksgiving, and then everyone goes out and stands in line. And so, but the point is missing out on that sale. It is not worth it to people, right? You know, people are motivated not to miss out, right? So you want to be a part of it. So that same concept. What you do? The question was about the idea of bonuses and eliminating bonuses for scarcity. So with a common strategy to add to this whole concept is when you're selling a course, one of the great things you can do is actually add bonuses to that product. What I often teach people to do is just when you're creating a course, you almost want to create the course and then create bonuses as well as you're creating all the material, right? Kind of decide what's going to be the bonus and what's going to be the bonuses when you're creating this stuff ahead of time. Don't create everything and be like, okay, what kind of bonuses can I add? You know, it's like have the bonuses in mind because that's a huge part of the sales pitch. Of saying, hey, look, you're going to get this course for, let's say, $100, and I'm also going to give you these 4 bonuses, which is another value of $300 or whatever, right? And so those bonuses are what often drive people to buy. Now, when you're running a launch, a common strategy is to say on the first day that you open up of like, hey, look, if you buy today, you're going to get the course plus these 4 bonuses. But if you don't, I'm going to actually take away this bonus right here. And so the next day, you're going to get this course plus these 3 bonuses, right? And then so as you take away bonuses, you know, it's like, oh man, I really want this course and I really want these bonuses. Again, what it allows you to do is have a steadier product launch, you know, so you're always promoting. But also it's the idea of just slowly providing scarcity for all your bonuses, and then finally you're providing scarcity for the course. So it's like scarcity within scarcity, so to speak. Little inception there almost. But yeah, I mean, it is a strategy I've seen used. You know, it's one of those things that if you feel like that's a good thing for your audience, then I've never personally used that strategy. I'm kind of like, hey, look, this is an all-in-one thing. I don't want to take away bonuses from someone because they couldn't buy that first day, and I want to give them the time period because sometimes it's a financial decision people need to make, right? And so they need to talk to their significant other or something like that and decide if they can actually invest in this. And so I prefer personally, this is just me, to have the bonuses last the launch, the length of the launch. But again, that's just me. Sometimes people will do things like, promote other people's products with their own as a bonus, and maybe that will just be the first thing. And so there's just so many ways you can do it. I guess I would focus more on the core concepts than getting lost in those little details, because if you're able to run a launch and just have one product with bonuses and run that for a period of time, I think you'll be equally effective than trying to eliminate bonuses as you go.
Yeah, Larry, I would echo what Matt said as well, that this is a strategy that you will see some people use. They will do it successfully, but it really depends on your brand and the perception that you want in the marketplace. My experience has been that if you have bonuses that go away, sometimes it can be counterproductive. Yeah. And the reason is if you have a bonus that might really matter to somebody, and then all of a sudden that bonus is no longer available, they might now not buy just purely out of spite or frustration that bonus is no longer there. It's like, man, I really wanted the football phone, and now I'm not even going to buy Sports Illustrated because they won't give me the football phone. Right. So I think it's something that if you're going to have a definitive end date for registration, that's going to give you enough scarcity to be able to close that out. Yeah. I would almost say I would rather add bonuses throughout the week leading up to the close, so that you continue to add more and more value to the offer, and there is more and more fear of loss when that offer is going away. But you're also making the people that have already bought even happier, because it's like, hey, guess what? You got this, but you also got this and this. And so by the time they're done, the early action takers that bought right away, they now have 5 bonuses that they didn't even know they were going to get. So I think if you look at the way both of those scenarios play out, I think adding bonuses will give you a lot more bang for your buck and a lot more relationship development in the process.
100% agree with that. I've seen it done a couple times that way, and it really does make your course that much more appealing, and the people that already bought that much more excited that the fact they bought. And so if you're going to add, let's say, a private Facebook group as part of a bonus to a course, don't announce that right away, right? Wait till that first day and then announce it on day 3. And then they're like, oh, wow, I get a group too. And so the people that already bought are all excited about this new thing they just got. These people are more enticed at your offer that haven't bought. And so it's just a very overall, the bonuses, there's a lot of strategy that goes in how you can stack them on.
Definitely. And by the way, Joyce, thank you very much for commenting in. You are right that removing bonuses gives you another reason to contact somebody. That's sort of the reason why that email is going out. You can also achieve the same by adding new bonuses, or by simply just continuing with the pre-launch content through the cart period of adding more reasons for them to engage with you or things that they can learn. Now, I see here that Genevieve Lucette, hi Genevieve, thanks for joining us, asked a question about, do you put out Facebook ads to get prospects for a launch? This is something that I'm going to go back actually to Matt's story, because I think that Matt did this the exact way that I would recommend everybody do this. And that is, he started with free traffic, drove them to an email list, and then drove the email list to his launch sequence.
Right. And to answer the question, just outright, yes, you totally can use Facebook ads to build a list, and that is a way, or I'm sorry, to drive traffic to a launch. The problem is that, and while it's a strategy, people don't know you. You're already putting them in a sales process when you do that. And I've found personally that it's a lot more effective when you're running a launch to a group of people that already have some experience with you. Because let's say you're running ads to your launch and you're on video 3 already, and the first video they see is video number 3, where you've already talked about the opportunity, the application, and you're sending social proof now, and that's the first experience they have of you. Well, you're paying money for that traffic, and they already have missed like a good portion of the process that they needed to see, right? And so it's a strategy. It's, again, like in marketing, there's no lack of strategies. There's countless strategies. Like what we're trying to talk about in this particular segment is just what we feel are best practices, right? And so like the most effective strategies, dare I say. And so when we're talking about your launch, really, if you're able to have a list of people who already know you and already trust you and like you because you give them great stuff again and again, well, when you're running a promotion to them, they're going to be that much more excited versus someone who's cold, just fresh off the street, and you're pitching them something, way less likely to convert. It doesn't mean that you won't get sales like that or you won't build a list like that. And maybe that person you collect will buy on your next launch that you run. And so it's not like it's lost cause building up and adding people to your list, but I just think that when you're running a launch, it's like it's really effective to have to send emails to people that know you and have agreed to get emails from you and are just part of your community.
Yeah, and Genevieve, I would certainly echo that where paid media really shines is in campaigns that are proven. Campaigns that you've already tested, that you've already taken to market with some success. Because when you look at a warm email list, someone who found you via free content, was excited to engage with you and stay in your universe, that person's going to respond very differently than the person who clicks on an ad for the first time. Right. Now, that being said, this is another idea of campaign structure and where you are in your business is you're always going to have the choice between free and paid. And the key difference there is resources. That's going to be the deciding factor of if you want to look at free or paid, because paid normally is faster. You can certainly buy as many clicks as you can afford as at any moment you want to buy them. But if you don't have a proven campaign, it may not ROI. Free, on the other hand, there's no cost, there's no risk other than the time and the content you're creating. But I often find that free is the best place to start because you're going to hone your message and hone your voice. Like my guess is your first video was probably very different than the video you made last week.
Awful. And you know, the thing is I actually keep up my really bad videos. I mean, because I started off, I bought like a video camera, believe it or not, like, and I put it up in my garage. I actually bought, and I'm not exaggerating, like floodlights from Home Depot. They were like $15 or whatever, and I was like, oh, well, these are just as good as a lighting system, right? Oh, this is miserable. Anyways.
If any of you watching this have a great lighting story like Matt, you got to pop it in the comments because I love this stuff. Like Home Depot lights, come on. How awesome is that?
And it's like shining like really intensely on me. I got a huge shadow behind me. And so, I mean, it was like, if you look at my first, and I don't have a microphone, I mean, those first videos, but hey, you know, it was a learning experience. And that's why I leave them up because it's like, I like to remind myself of my own like kind of progression in you know, producing content and how it all works and stuff like that. So can we go back to, not to like completely shift gears, but I just had a thought, you know, when they were talking about this idea of paid media, can we talk about a Tripwire offer and why that's an effective...
we absolutely can. A campaign structure, I couldn't think of a better thing other than a Tripwire offer.
Okay. So,
Genevieve, this is for you.
So when you're running ads, you know, you have to analyze kind of a lot of statistics when you're running ads. You can't just say like, okay, I'm going to put $50 in ads and just let whatever happens. You have to really keep track. When you're putting your own money in the game, I mean, it's important to keep track of really crucial numbers. You know, those are things like cost per click, cost per conversion, right? Cost per lead. So what that really means is like when I run an ad out there and someone clicks on the ad and then comes to my squeeze page to enter in their email, how much is it costing me to get someone to get someone's email that I can then market to, right? So, you know, you can run ads and just build an entire list and then try to run a whole, you know, product launch to that list, right? That's a strategy you can use. The problem is you have to spend a lot of money up front to build that list and then hope that you can run a good launch and then recoup that money and a profit later. So one of the strategies that you could consider is something called a Tripwire offer. Now, this is great for many reasons, and to do an effective Tripwire offer, you know, it takes some skill, and also it's one of those things that you have to feel comfortable with being part of your brand. Okay, so this isn't for everyone, but what a Tripwire offer is basically this. When you send someone to a squeeze page, right, and they can enter in their email in exchange for whatever your lead magnet is, right? And so a lead magnet is just something you're giving in exchange. It could be a PDF, an audio, you know, a video, whatever. Generally speaking, people are taken to a thank you page right after that. So they enter in their email, hit submit, and they're taken to a thank you page. And it says, hey, your free resource is on the way to your email, or they can sometimes download that resource right there. With a Tripwire offer, what you do is you basically have them opt in, and then on the next page, you make them an offer, right? You actually ask them for money like right away. The key with a Tripwire offer is twofold. One, it has to be something that kind of really is very similar to the opt-in that they got. So J-Cron made is it okay if I call you Drake?
Yeah, okay. Everybody else does.
Okay, but J-Cron made a point with YouTube videos. So if I'm sending, have a YouTube video on someone that's, like an ab video for workouts, and I send them to a lead magnet on how to get ads, I don't want to send them to a Tripwire that's how to, do perfect squats or something like that. That's something that, or something that's how to do the keto diet, right? I mean, yes, those things are related, but I encourage you to have a Tripwire that's very, very highly correlated with the lead magnet that you're sending out to people, or it's something that's going to, kind of build on that, so to speak. But anyways, with a Tripwire offer, you want to have something that's low cost and high value. And the whole purpose of a Tripwire offer is twofold. One, it changes the relationship that you have with your prospective lead. So when someone signs up there and enters in their email, they're a lead, right? They're someone that's just on your list, and you can start building conversations and relationships with them and eventually offer them something. A Tripwire, what it does is it changes that relationship from a lead to a customer, right? They've literally shifted gears and saying, hey, I want to be a customer. So the best, and so now they're a customer, right? It's a completely different relationship. They're a prior customer to yours after they've bought something from you. So you'll see lead magnets for like $1 or $5 or $9, right? Lead magnets are, I'm sorry, Tripwires for, $1, $5, $9 are very, very low offers. And so the whole reason behind it is usually twofold. The one, to change that relationship from a lead to a customer, and then two is oftentimes it's a good way to recoup ad spend. So if you spend, let's say, $5 to get someone to enter, so you're running Facebook ads, right? So X amount of people click, and a certain amount of people enter their emails and become leads. If you spent $50 to do that, and let's say you got 50 emails, right? So it was $1 per lead, right? If you have a Tripwire that's $9, and let's say only out of those 50 people, only, let's say 3 bought, right? So you had $9, so that's $27. What happened was you spent $50 on ads, you got 50 emails, and then you gained $27 back just from this initial offer, and 3 people became customers. Okay, so you really only spent $23 on ads to get those 50 people. So now your cost per lead is down to 50 cents, give or take, right? And so that's what a Tripwire is designed to do. It's designed to cut ad spend down, and you almost even break even on ad spend if you have a really good Tripwire, right? So imagine spending $50, getting 50 emails, and then X amount of people buy, and you end up getting $51, and you end up in the black for $1. Well, okay, I just got all those emails, and I have plus $1, and then I have 50 people that I can now market my courses to. Okay, so that strategy is really effective for recouping that ad spend and kind of changing those relationships from leads to customers. But again, it has to match your brand, and it can't be something. It's got to be something of really high value that you're willing to offer at low cost. So a lot of things that people do for that are that that you always see that free book funnel that everyone runs, where they give a free book, and if you look at that funnel, that pipeline, and they basically buy a book, and then they pay to ship it. And so that book gets sent out. And so what happened is they signed up for a book. They get it for free, but they pay for shipping. So they've paid you a little money. So everyone that comes into that pipeline flow now changes from, basically a lead to a customer.
So if we talk about this idea of a Tripwire, the idea of a Tripwire has been around a long, long time. Now, it used to be called a self-liquidating offer, or, free plus shipping offers have been common for a long time in marketing. The idea of a Tripwire is a term that I will give credit to Roland, Ryan, and Perry at Digital Marketer for really popularizing the term Tripwire. And the only goal of a Tripwire is to change the terms of the relationship between you and that person. Right. Rather than having them be a prospect, i.e. they gave you their email address, they are now a buyer. And the buyer doesn't really matter at what price. It could literally be a penny. The fact is that they have transacted with you, and the lifetime customer value is going to be multiples beyond someone who just gave you their email as a prospect versus someone that became a Tripwire sale. Now, where people get stuck on this is they're afraid to sell. This is something where people look at this Tripwire funnel and they're not ready to just immediately offer something to someone. And what I want to share with you, if that is you, if that ever is the perspective you're coming from, if you genuinely believe in what you have to offer, if you believe in the efficacy of the product you have created, you have a moral and ethical responsibility to get that into the hands of the marketplace. Whether you're scared to, whether you're a little bit timid about it, that is your responsibility. And a Tripwire allows you to do that. One of my favorite definitions of the word selling actually comes from Dan Sullivan. And Dan Sullivan describes sales in a way that when you look at sales this way, you can't help but say, when I'm doing that, I am the best version of myself. And his definition of sales is getting someone intellectually engaged in a future result that's good for them and getting them emotionally charged to take action on that future result. I couldn't think of a better way to reframe this idea of why you selling is going to benefit you, but it's also going to benefit your users, your future customers. Because when people pay, they pay attention. And the goal is to get consumption of your product, not just sales of your product, so the transformation can happen. So I highly recommend, if you've not looked at the pipeline for the promotional offer, I would highly recommend it. It's exactly what this is used for. And hopefully this discussion today on campaign structure has been helpful. Genevieve, I see your question here. I just finished the 3 product launch videos and sales video. I've got 400 people on my mailing list, and I was thinking of going to them first and then Facebook ads. Great idea.
Rock and roll.
Do exactly that. As a matter of fact, that's exactly how Matt launched his course. Yeah. So you're going to have some fun.
And the thing is when you get some sales from that launch, you can actually take that money and invest it in ads. And then you'll also be able to retweak your whole launch and kind of see what works and what doesn't. And then you can make adjustments and then actually, again, like Jay Cron said, is paid ads are great for a proven strategy. So when you run this first launch, it doesn't matter what happens. Don't go in with any expectations, right? Just it's an experiment. You're trying something, and maybe your list responds great to it, or maybe it doesn't. And then if it doesn't, it's not a knock on you. It's just like, okay, well, maybe I wasn't communicating really what my offer is. Because one thing I always love to tell, Jay Cron dropped a whole bunch of dimes right there that were pretty awesome. I love when people pay, they pay attention. I like that. I'm going to steal that. And
well, it's true.
Yeah, I know.
When people pay attention. When's the last time you went over to a relative's house and they made you a free meal that sucked and you complained? Well, you didn't pay for it, so you're not going to complain. But if you go to a restaurant and you're putting out your hard-earned cash for that food, it's going to bum you out if it's not right. If they overcook the steak or if they don't bring you the side that you were supposed to get or whatever, you're paying. You're paying attention.
Right. No, and so... forgot what I was going to say right there.
But let's jump into Michael's question. Yeah. So Michael Sullivan said, I want to leverage my current customer base to share my product with their network via email. Is there a tool or app that makes this easy or gamifies the process? So what I would recommend, Michael, is I would take a look at, if you're looking to gamify the process and really make viral sharing a possibility, look at some of the social media contest platforms. I'm going to try one off the cuff here. If it's wrong, I will put the correct one in the comments. But I believe it's called Contest Domination. And these are the type of things that you have a platform that will allow you to incentivize people to like something, share something, tweet something, snap something, blurb something. That's probably not a real thing, but I ran out of things to say. But it gamifies that process for them. And you've actually seen us use platforms like this to do Kajabi giveaways, where we've asked you guys to share information on us. We've given away notebooks. We've given away Kajabi swag. So that might be a way, Michael, that you could gamify that and do that.
I wanted to go back to that question that I think Genevieve asked. And so with that 400 launch that you're looking to do, basically, when you're running that launch, and again, I just highly encourage you to just look at it as an experiment and just kind of just try it, right? And so when you try it, you'll figure out what works. And then here's the key point with selling that I've kind of learned, and I think you said it really good when you were quoting that. I think it was a Dan Sullivan quote, is to get someone emotionally charged for like a transformational experience. If you're selling on Kajabi, there's a good chance you've created a course. You aren't selling a course. I can't like emphasize that point enough. People don't want a course, right? That's something that they have to consume. You're selling the end result of taking that course. All right, you're selling the transformation that they're going to experience, right? So when you're selling, and you're telling people about your course, don't keep hyping it up that you're going to get a course, you're going to get a course. It's by going through this course, you're going to get X, Y, or Z. And that's one of those things that I think really, when I started selling that way instead, I saw a huge difference in one, how I sold, because it reminds you of why you made the product in the first place, right? Why you made this product, what you're trying to help people achieve. And that's what you're really pitching to them. You're pitching to them the experience and the transformation that's going to take place, and your product is the vessel in which you achieve that.
So I'm big on metaphors. It's how I remember most of these high-level marketing concepts that we're talking about. If you want to remember this one, my favorite one is everybody wants the baby, nobody wants labor pains. So it's certainly something that's what Matt is talking about, that if you get caught up in this idea of I'm selling the course, I'm selling the modules, I'm selling the widgets, you're not going to get the same type of results, because really people are not buying a course because they woke up that morning and thought, boy, I really want a course today. Right. I have wanted a course so badly and I'm going to go out and get one. They woke up because they had a result or an outcome in their mind that they want to achieve, and it's giving them the opportunity to get that outcome and having the course be the vehicle to get them there. Yeah. The way that I like to describe this is you have to sell people what they want to gain permission to give them what they need. And the fact is, you have to be able to sell to the outcome, the transformation that's possible, in order to gain permission and motivation to get them to go through what they need to do to end up there. So I think we've covered a ton of ground today. Michael, by the way, thank you for your awesome comment, and everybody interacting with us. This Ask Kajabi stuff is a heck of a lot of fun. So before we wrap, remember, every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, hashtag Ask Kajabi. We are here live taking your questions, discussing marketing concepts, course concepts, what's working in this online digital education realm today. And it's all for your benefit. We really want to see all of you successful as Kajabi heroes. We now even have some amazing Kajabi hero swag that you're probably seeing in the group. Hats, hoodies, jackets, all of them tied to different levels of achievement. And we are just so excited to find new and cool ways to recognize you. So with that, thank you very much for joining us for today's hashtag Ask Kajabi. We, of course, will be back on next Tuesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, and I'll probably be live on Thursday, 11 a.m. with another Ask Me Anything or whatever strikes my fancy at that moment that I think would benefit your business. So Tuesday, Thursdays, 11 a.m. Pacific time, hashtag Ask Kajabi. And Matt, thank you very much for joining us today. This was fun.
It's been a pleasure. It's great talking with everyone, and I wish you guys nothing but success.
And if you have any questions that we didn't get to, just go ahead and drop them into the comment thread here. Matt will be watching it. I'll be watching it as well. So if you didn't catch this live, know that you can catch us live 11 a.m. Pacific, Tuesday and Thursday, hashtag Ask Kajabi. And if you're not live, drop your comments in the thread. We'll get them answered for you. Thanks for being with us today. See you soon.
Take care.